Good
morning,
and welcome to your Thursday morning coffee break.
Cheers. Starring
Ashley Gatlin, realtor extraordinaire.
and Sean Morrissey, your friendly neighborhood loan officer.
And thank you guys for so much. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Today we want to highlight insurance and the role that it plays in the home buying process. So
Exactly.
how does it fit into your world, Sean?
Yeah, so from a lending perspective, it is very important. It's one of those four big main components that make up the borrower's monthly payment. So it's obviously a big factor to everyone, and the monthly annual premiums can change, home to home or neighborhood to neighborhood, depending on age of the roof and a lot of other factors. I know enough to be dangerous, but I am not a licensed insurance agent, and I really think that we should talk to one.
I think that would be convenient.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the show, Brian. Thank you for joining us. Conveniently enough, I believe you are a licensed insurance agent. Is that correct?
Yep. So as long as it's the state of Colorado, it doesn't matter north, south, east, or west. So as long as it's in the state of Colorado, we can do insurance for you.
Awesome. So a common theme that we have talked about on this show is the impact of strong relationships. My relationship with my clients, my relationship with insurance agents, my relationship with the lender. Brian, how do you power that strong relationship, particularly with first-time home buyers in the process, because they usually have the most questions? How do you foster those relationships in your business?
Yeah, so those strong relationships are really important to us too, because at the end of the day, my business is really about educating people and personalized service. And so with a strong relationship, you have that trust, right? And when a client comes to you and they trust you, and then they get to know me because of you, then that trust is referred through that. So people can know that we are really looking out for their best interests. Mm-hmm. We're not a high volume, high pressure, insurance agency. We are relationship based. We're primarily off referrals. Mm-hmm. And even if the best thing for your client is not going with us, that might be the solution that we come to. But it's the strong relationships that really make doing what we do enjoyable, because mm-hmm. Insurance is not a fun, sexy thing.
No, it's not.
Everybody knows that, right? But human relationships are valuable, and having them long term is really the only way to go. So
yeah, I love that. So from that educational perspective, let's say I have a first-time home buyer and we're going to see homes. At some point in the process, once you go under contract, one of your first steps is to get in touch with an insurance agent and get quotes. But before that, when we're looking at a home, what are some of those red flags that might pop up then, or might pop up in the inspection process that would put a hard halt on getting covered for insurance?
Yeah, so there are a couple things that may not completely stop it, but you may have to detour, you may have to look at other options. Mm-hmm. Stab lock electrical panels are one that are pretty common here in Colorado, especially if the house was built prior to 1980s and things like that. The reason why a stab lock panel can be a flag is because they have been proven to not trip, and that's what you want an electrical panel to do. If something short circuits or something's wrong with the wires, you want it to trip and shut the circuit off. Mm-hmm. So stab lock panels is one of them. Polybutylene piping is another one of them. Knob and tube or aluminum wiring. And so those are a couple of them, but again, those are things that we know, that we are aware of, mm-hmm. that again, we don't want anything to stop your dream of owning a home from happening. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, there's no point in having an insurance policy that's not going to perform the way that you want it to if and when something does happen, right? So those are a couple of them, but if we identify that early on in the process, like I said, we can navigate around that, and we can still help you accomplish what you want to accomplish.
So point being, as we've always talked about as well, which is education is power. By you educating me, educating the client on some of these red flags, we're able to get the information early, take the necessary steps if there needs to be steps taken to mitigate the issue, decrease stress in the process, and overall just make the best decision for the client, because as we know, like, a home purchase is a big deal.
Yeah, a home purchase is a big deal, and insurance is part of that necessary part of the transaction. Mm-hmm. But not all insurance policies are created equal, and not everything is there's no one policy that's the best fit for every situation. Yeah. So we really like taking the time to work with people, especially like you mentioned, first-time home buyers who really don't know what they don't know. Mm-hmm. Just like I don't know a tenth of what you know in the real estate realm. Mm-hmm. that's why working with professionals and having those relationships is so great, is because we educate each other, we make each other more aware, and then, you know, our clients aren't having to do all the various different jobs. Because buying a house is a big thing, right? You've got to get a loan, and you've got to find the house, and you've got to get insurance, and you've got to do all these things. Yeah. Well, I think it's a lot less stressful when you have people that you trust to take care of their designated areas of expertise.
I agree with that. That's awesome. So let's fast forward and say somebody chooses to do a policy with you guys. I think previous to building my relationship with you, I thought of an insurance person as just somebody I talked to on the phone. It wasn't even the same person. I might hold online for my insurance carrier for 30 minutes, and then I'd get some agent, and then I'd get some question answered. With your office in particular, what does that process look like if something were to go wrong and the client needed to reach out to you for insurance?
Yeah, so we like to tell all of our clients that if something does happen, reach out to my team first, which all my clients have my cell phone number. It's definitely available. It's not something that we hide. You know, and that's available nights, weekends, holidays, because, you know, hail doesn't choose the time of day that is most convenient for you to happen, right? And so I've gotten calls at 2:30 in the morning, and, you know, when that's happening to somebody, you know, honestly, there's nothing else I'd rather do than pick up the phone, ease your mind, let you know what the next steps are. I'm gonna sleep much better the next night knowing that than my client had to call a 1-800 number, couldn't get anybody, that kind of thing. So if something does happen, heaven forbid, later on, you call my office first. That's what we always encourage people to do, because sometimes it's nothing that is going to warrant a claim. Sometimes, you know, we can help you stop the problem from getting worse, you know, and those kinds of things. So having that personalized service is a big reason why I'm in the position I am. So
awesome. I love that. So I think to wrap this all up, one of the things that I have with Brian is direct communication, and one of the things that I transfer to my clients in my referral to him is that direct communication, having someone on your side. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Brian, thank you for being on the show. If you enjoy this show, you're welcome to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Link will be in the comments section. And as always, if you guys have questions, you can give us a phone call. You can call me, Sean, Brian. You can direct message us, whatever works for you. But thank you so much for your time. Cheers.